Or in this video, we're going to do some math and I guess physics, and we're going to be using a formula to calculate the average velocity of an object. We'll use the equation that includes velocity, distance, and time. Uh, but sometimes we won't just be calculating the average velocity. Sometimes we'll know what the velocity, we'll know what the distance is, and we'll look for the time. So it's an equation, as you see here, that has three variables in it, and I'll give you two, and you have to solve for the third one. Notice in this equation that it's an inverse relationship. Like the faster you go, the less time it will take. So one increases, the other decreases, inverse relationship. And the constant of variation, that top number, is the distance. Okay, so let's try some questions where we're looking at that. I've got a biker that travels 50 kilometers, does it in 1.3 hours. How fast are they going? Here's my formula. The question is how fast, or what was their average velocity. So we're looking for this. Distance I know is 50, time I know is 1.3. So I've already solved the equation, or it's already solved for velocity, which is what I'm looking for. So I just need to plug my numbers in. So 50 kilometers divided by 1.3 hours. So if I were to divide those two, and let me just do that quickly. Calculator, 50 divided by 1.3 gives me 38.46. 38.46. So 38.46. And in terms of sig figs, I guess if there was a decimal there, I'd have two sig figs in each number. So I'd need two sig figs in my answer. So this would be 38. So this would be 38 kilometers per hour. That would be how fast they're going, or their average velocity. Okay, let's try another one. A bird travels at 20 kilometers an hour for 50 kilometers. How long did it take? So in this question, they're not asking the velocity, they actually give that. And they're not looking for a distance, they give that as well. They're looking for the time, how long it took. So here's time, and so I'm going to solve this equation for time. What I'll do is I'll multiply both sides by time. On this side they cancel out, so I'd be left with time times velocity is equal to distance. And if I'm looking for time, I want to get rid of the velocity, so I'll divide both sides by velocity. Divide. Okay, so on this side the velocities cancel. I'm left with t is equal to d over v. Okay, so let's plug in the numbers. Time is equal to the distance, 55 kilometers, divided by the velocity, 20 kilometers an hour. 20 kilometers. Notice now what I'll do here. Instead of writing a per hour down here, that gives me two fraction lines. So instead of writing it over this fraction line, an easy way to do that is just, if this is a fraction line, just put the per hour over this one. So you'd put it on the top. So the kilometers cancel and you're left with hours, which is what we're looking for. Okay, trusty calculator, 55 divided by 20, 55 divided by 20, 2.75. Okay, so this is equal to 2.75 hours. Now, if there's a decimal there, 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs, this rounded would be 2.8 hours. Okay, let's try another one. Car average velocity, here's my velocity, and it goes for this much time, so this would be time. The question is how far it's gone. They're looking for the distance. So let's manipulate this equation here for distance. I want to get rid of the time on this side, so I'll multiply this up by time. As long as I multiply that by time, we're good. These two times cancel, so I'll be left with distance is equal to velocity times time. I'm sort of a left-handed formula guy. So I'm going to rewrite that formula as d is equal to v times t. Notice if you just swap both, then it works out fine. It's the same thing. Okay, so distance is equal to velocity, 110 kilometers per hour, times the time, 5.5 hours. 5.5 hours. Hours cancel, leaving me with kilometers, which is what I'm looking for. And now I just have to go 110 times 5.5. Okay, trusty calculator. 110, whoops. 110 times 5.5. 605. Okay, so this would be 605 kilometers. Okay, so we've looked at the formula. Velocity is equal to distance over time, and we've seen that you can solve for any variable in this formula as long as you know the other two. There is some manipulation that you need to do, and if you're forgetting how to manipulate, you can go back to one of the earlier videos and that'll help you out with that. Okay.